We got a pretty significant downside move here, people, and only to rally it back up. Just a bunch of shit's loading right now. Sorry, just loading here. Oh, okay. So it's already on. Sorry, I was looking at this like YouTube thing and it was like loading. So, let's break down some of the news. Right, crazy night here. Equity markets dumped pretty aggressively, only to rally back up pretty much. And what was going on, right? Israeli minister writes one-word post after strike on Iran, right? Blinken refuses to address the Israel attack as well. So Israel's national security minister writes a very short post on X after his country's strike on Iran last night, and a senior Iranian official says the country has no plan for immediate retaliation. So, in a press conference, also, Blinken refused to talk about the reported Israel strike on Iran, as we saw that panned out overnight, which put some significant downside pressure in these markets, right? Only to rebound. Remember the last time that we had something similar was the news out of Ukraine from Russia, and we saw that the market immediately rebounded through that day. Right, the first initial move was to the downside before we got that continuation to the upside swing. So obviously these are things beyond my scope of comprehension and talking about. So I don't want to dive too much into this, but realistically, right? So there's reports that are still fairly murky surrounding the explosions heard across the cities in Isfahan Isfahan and Tabriz in Iran, but state media has also played down the damage from suspected attacks, while Tehran has lifted flight restrictions. Whether the tensions will subside is anyone's guess, but it appears that stocks in crude oil have gotten over this initial shock on this downside. Right, we've seen that we swung fairly significantly down to that 4960 handle on the S&P, only to rally back up. We're pretty much at yesterday's close, actually. So the just hours before the suspected retaliation strike, the S&P Global cut Israel's rating by one notch, joining Moody's Investor Service and lowering the nation's sovereign credit score. So it seems like anyone's general guess as to how this thing's going to unfold. The markets don't seem to have too much of a sustained reaction to this. Right now, we'll talk a bit more about how I expect this thing to play out in just a bit, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised to see some of this downside momentum try to continue. I know it's Friday, there's some bullishness, and there are lines in the sand that we have to respect to see how this thing's going to shape up. But that is quite a rebound, realistically. I think we traded 49 like 65 or something. So we're up about 80 handles here right now, trading on the overnight session after this significant swing to the downside. So it seems like there's that. There's also earnings, right? Netflix reported earnings last night, which pulled this thing a little lower, putting some downside pressure in tech markets specifically. You can see that Netflix is down like nearly 5% here pre-market. Nothing insane, but it's the start of the earnings period for big tech that puts a little strain on the risk on assets, right? So it had a strong Q1 result in subscriber growth that once surpassed expectations. The streamer saw double-digit gains amid a password crackdown, but attention settled on the fact that Netflix will stop reporting subscriber numbers entirely starting Q1 2025. The company also issued soft Q2 guidance given last year's growth reacceleration, despite having different takes on the results. So, realistically, I think that the downside press on Netflix amidst these results is mainly based on the subscriber figures that they're going to stop reporting, because that gives you understanding of their forward guidance. It gives you understanding of where they're at with these subscribers. I don't understand why they don't want to do it. I feel like it kind of puts suspicion in the eyes of investors and traders alike. So, in terms of some of the other news that shaped up here, Bitcoin is on the charts as well. Bitcoin is a little ways away from undergoing a once every 4 year software update in the blockchain that has historically been hyped as a positive catalyst for the highest profile cryptocurrency. The quadrennial halving event, right, due as soon as today, occurs when the Bitcoin miners' reward for validating transactions is slashed in half, essentially reducing the rate at which the new tokens are created by 50%. Um, as such, the technical event reduces the supply of new Bitcoin entering the market, and a move that could drive up coin prices should demand remain constant or rise. So, given the fixed supply of Bitcoin, the halving event also reinforces scarcity by reducing the rate at which the new Bitcoin BTC are introduced into circulation. So, Bitcoin has already reached a record high of 73.8 thousand USD in mid March, as the green light for the spot Bitcoin ETF spurred a strong and persistent demand for the token. Now, volatility has spiraled amid the countdown to the halving, as well as jitters about higher for longer interest rates, with Bitcoin dropping some 70% since it hit its record. Overnight, the crypto is trading up about 5%, close to the 65,000 marker. And note that the miners' profitability generally suffers after the halving, as their rewards get cut in half. This fourth halving will lower the reward to 3.125 BTC, currently at 6.25 BTC, and the overall halving process is expected to end in 2140. So when the number of Bitcoin in circulation is expected to reach its programmed cap of 21 million, there are currently about 19.7 million Bitcoin in circulation. So a lot of people on the crypto front, right, they're looking at Bitcoin and looking at this as a marker of 150,000 per Bitcoin. That's the expected target, which would put us at a 2x growth from where we actually stand right now. So today, it's Friday. We're going to be live here in the morning session to kind of break things down. And with that, right, I think there's gonna be a decent bit of volatility. Fridays generally we look for upside momentum moves, but after what's going on right now and structural changes, we're probably going to see kind of a mixed match. I'm gonna be looking for a bit downside to start the session. We'll talk about that in just a bit. We'll talk about other criteria as well. Like I just looked at the VIX on the overnight session. We tagged about 21 before plummeting very aggressively. A lot of people are calling this the bottom. I don't think it's going to be as simple as that, but I am getting ready for a V-shaped recovery overall in these markets. So let's put Mr. Box on. He'll talk about Perfect. Thank you, Buxy. In Discord, let me see where that is. So, um, what you can see here is I was looking for some of that downside. I honestly wanted to see them pop it up a little more because what we did yesterday is we accepted into a distribution lower into the close. So if we mark these distributions off and understand where this auction actually sits, um, we had a move, right? This was the main distribution that I was looking at, right? We have a higher one up here, and we had to move lower into the acceptance of this lower distribution where we closed like this, right? I honestly was looking to see if we can get a rebound, but as I was mentioning here in Discord as well, if we start running under this 44 area, right, the break and retest of that, that's going to be a key signal. I waited a pretty decent long time, caught a decent bit of the short, obviously didn't catch the whole thing, but it surprised me to see this thing extend that much. And what we did was we actually started running back under this distribution. I think the start, we can pinpoint the start somewhere at like 93. We can say why not, 93 to 95, right? It seems like these areas, every 100 points, they repeat. Anyways, so we got that move under there. We traded down to that 60, which is a very, very strong region where the volume drops off realistically. I wasn't at the computer to look at this. I don't think I would have bought it anyways. But once we started moving back above and accepting back above this distribution, back into this distribution, back above that 20, that's when I was at the computer. So I was looking for longs into that 20, looking longs on the 400 on the Nasdaq to get that push higher. And now, as we stand, we are at the top of this distribution, which is suggestive for me that I think that some of these sellers are going to try and push this thing down here before the afternoon session. I think that there could be some decent sell pressure that comes into this market into this mid-low 50 max, high 60, mid-60 to see some of that downside press to continue this leg to the, or maybe not continue it, but go and clean up some of this downside momentum that traded on the overnight session. So I'm going to be very cautious of that, right? If we continuously offer under that like mid 40 on the S&P 500 futures, I'll be looking for a downside press, especially under that like mid 30, under 20. You just accept lower and lower and lower, and my general target is probably going to be the bottom band of the distribution. If we accept under that 90 today, well, I think that this downside is not capped, but we're still in lower band distributions. There was just a little head fake on the overnight session to accept into a lower distribution, which allowed prices to actually firm up. So I'll be looking to start with a little bit of downside, and then if things change, right, and we just hold these structural volume areas, then so be it. So main region that I'm watching right now, see how they react obviously into this mid 40, and then down here into low 30, and eventually into that 20. We have those areas, but you start offering heavy volume is shaping up right now into these highs of session on the overnight, putting some downside pressure in my opinion. If we take a look at the delta as well here side by side, let us find it. So delta on the overnight session, right, you can see they got trapped at the lows. Shocking, right? Huge negative delta into lows. They got trapped a rebit above this like 80 as well. This helped a lot of that upside spring back up. We're above this heavy buyer as well. POC intact over here. Heavy delta as well. Heavy delta into this 44 area. That's an area of interest for us. So you can mark these regions off as key areas going forward. So especially if we start offering like this, I think that there's going to be some consistency to the downside momentum move. So I don't want to get like too biased about this, but realistically I can see some of these guys selling this off or attempting to sell this off as they're already starting from that mid 20. Even on the overnight session yesterday, or sorry, not the overnight session yesterday, the day session to the close yesterday. Look at this, like a culmination of all this heavy delta here. Longs getting trapped as we continue to sell re-offers into the close of the session, putting some decent downside pressure. So like this area is fairly significant in my perspective. On Nasdaq, right, downside yesterday as well. I was honestly looking to sell into 590, 600. That area didn't trade. One of the main things I was looking at was under that 500. Honestly, I'm targeting about 100 lower, plus like even down into 350. So again, right, this thing offered, took a decent little short, didn't hold it obviously the whole way through. And when we look at Nasdaq right now, look at it from a distribution perspective, some of the areas that I want to play today, we have the start of this area, this interesting distribution that sets up into this 500, 515 area. So we're failing from that right now. They're trying to offer from that right now. And if we continue to accept that, I'm going to be targeting into that 410, into that 360, into that 280, and further, realistically. Under this like 450 area, I'll be looking for a new acceptance into the heavier volume that stands below. And I think that the only case for the buy side as it stands right now is a cleaner move above this 520 to go and target into that 600 area. So, like I said, I don't want to get crazy with this. I got a little bias to the downside to start the session. That could easily flip. But I think they try to press some of this lower, especially with this most recent move into the highs. I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of like profit taking and let this thing pull down a little more before we potentially meet some buyers at lower, stronger levels during the RTH. So I'll be honestly going to be trading micros today. I'll be trading like 8 to 12s on micros because I've had a tough but solid last few days. So especially on the overnight was pretty good. So I don't want to exceed risk. I'm going to be trading smaller today. Anyways, let me know if you have any questions. We'll put Fatty on here. Started a bit earlier today. I really I wanted some of these areas to trade, um, to trade, I wanted some of these areas to trade lower on the RTH or even like the ETH when the stock market is open, because like stock market opens at like 4 a.m. Eastern time, and like by the time market opened at 4 a.m. here, right, we were trading, where were we trading? We were trading like 50-20. So for me to be buying dips on individual names and leverage at those areas, like I don't know. I feel like there could be a better shot lower. So that's kind of annoying, but it's life. Morning, everyone. I said I would only shave when the S&P 500 is trading into the 4,000 handle. Morning, Fatty. What's up?
What's up, Rick? So nice. Wow. What's up, buddy? Yeah, I'm looking for that downside move. Well, like mid 40 on the S&P and 520 on Nasdaq. It might have started pre-market, like it's offering right now. So we'll see. We can get a rotation into that area again after the open. Where did he get long, Vic?
The 20. Like an hour ago or whenever it was trading down there, a few hours ago. Like I had a few on, I only have one left. Like I bought 20, 24, 19, 21.
Nice. Yesterday was a lot of back and forth.
I know. I think yesterday was freaking brutal.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a downside move of the open. After that, it kept going bid until we got 96. Then we went all the way from 96, broke the low.
I know.
Like after the close, before the close, we break the low, and then like kind of lingers in that region for a bit until the news comes out, and then you get another sharp move lower. So it's just.
It's annoying because like I get like good moves into the afternoon session. Like when I was mentioning in the Discord, I was shorting 94, shorting 81, and I was like, Jesus, why? Like what the hell?
I seen that trade. Best trade of the day. If you ran that the whole way, that was probably the
I
best.
didn't. I sold 81 down into like 50, which was good. I don't know. I'm gonna if I get taken out of this, which I probably will, I'm looking for shorts. Honestly, if I wasn't in that long into these areas, I probably would have tried to initiate some kind of short. I might just manually put stops in today. Like Nasdaq right now is trying to run under this like 510, 515 area. Let's see. We got time until the open, about 9 minutes. So let me know if you have any questions.
You think that today is a volatile session to like increase like the stops?
Yeah, I'm gonna be trading micro, so I'm gonna have like a 4 point stop probably.
Okay. Well,
As I'm like going to bed, my the phone starts buzzing, my like computer starts ringing. I'm like, what the hell is happening?
alerts.
So many.
Time to wake up and buy the dip.
Honestly, that was like the main position I had was a short actually.
That's like swings or futures or
No,
options.
futures. Like I wanted to buy equities, like leverage. I wanted to buy individual stocks, but like the market closes from 8 to 4 a.m., like 8 p.m. Eastern time to 4 a.m. Eastern time. So like by the time all this shit was over, 4 a.m. when the market reopens for the pre-market trading, the thing's already up like 70 handles, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, 5 minutes here. Offers coming in pretty heavy. I'm just gonna flatten these honestly.
It's volatile even before the open. Have you
Yeah.
seen that move?
Sell, sell. I don't think we have any news today, do we?
No, I don't think so. Wait, let me double check.
Sorry, say again. I completely was not paying attention to you, sir. Fuck, it's OPEX? Hey. Why does Interactive Brokers keep messaging me? Buy program, sell program. Algos are watching me. I'm screwed. My steps are gonna get liquidated. Schmopex, OPEX, that adds a layer of shit to the day. Ah. Nine seconds. Schmopex. Alright.
There goes the open.
Account blown. Let's see, I think the first move they try to sell this honestly. Nas I'm watching pretty closely here as well. They're going offer on Nas. Let's see. Like just before the open they take that 500, now they're selling off from it. Closer to selling into the CES, honestly, but okay, well. Yeah, I think it's already running. What's going on? Try and sell some into this 44, but I might be late on this. Nas is like a lot weaker. I don't think I'm gonna be able to sell Nas here unless we get like a larger press lower. Or a larger press higher, I should say. going on with these orders? There's some sparks of volatility. This thing's kind of in like a choppy area. I think I might be early on this. Like better fills are. Oh my god. Got stopped on a few of these, but I was gonna say better fills are probably higher. I don't know how much I like this short right now. With Nas too. Yeah, taken out of this. With Nez too, I wanted to try into this like 500, but this might be a better fill into these areas. It's a little choppy and volatile off this morning start. I'm gonna try to layer into this again. Using this MES here, so. With Nas, like, I wanted this into that like 500. And you just get a one touch pass. The thing with this is, like, as you guys were saying, we have OPEX today as well. So it could get a little choppier. I know, I'm looking at it too. Like, Nas refuses to trade into the area I want it to. Hmm. $47. Missed this. That sucks butt. shorted the same area I shorted last time.
You didn't go down. You didn't chase it.
No, I didn't. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, Dom, order flow super thing, getting choppy, wish-washy right now. Direction still looks like to the downside. I'm gonna start filling again. How many is it? 3, 6, 8. Malleability of micros. Wait, what is that? 6, 9, 6. Alright, that should be enough. Something like that. Yeah, these are MESs. I am tapped out of trading minis this week. It was a lot. Back and forth. I was like, what the hell? I had a good few days, but like a freaking battle on them, honestly. Like, I think if we trade up to 47, that might be a better area, honestly. I'll move some of these. Because I had a big player into there. Ay, 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 ay. 47 reoffers, that's good. I don't think I necessarily need this big of a stop, but we need to get rid of these like higher 30s, mid 30s. And buyer steps in the low 40 again. That Nasdaq, man, that was a better one to short. These guys are just like nuking Nasdaq. Like a buyer steps in at that low 40 again on this stupid ES.
Yeah. Strong bid now. Like, relax.
What the hell? I got nuked out of that. Ugh. started trading at the same area. Like, fuck me, am I gonna short this again at that same area? I'm gonna go into this 50.
Now looks bullish into resistance. Like I don't want to short it right now. I'm not long. Just wait.
My god. Bull comes out of freaking low 40, rebid heavily. I should just stop trading the morning sessions.
It's just been tough the last week. Like a lot of back and forth. Order flow changes very quickly as well.
Like, the only case for the bear here is if they reoffer this 51, honestly. Added one. I'll probably add on the way lower if they actually hold this offer. Buy side. I'm out of this. Oof. Taking 3 shots, 3 losses on this. I hate these morning sessions. That was a frickin' fat bid that came in this too.
Yeah, 56 now, 570 on the delta buyers.
Everyone complaining about this low volume. I shorted NASDAQ.
I'm not trying to short.
I know. this 500. I'll short this ES2 with 9. How many is it? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, I shorted 8. Ah, how many shorts is it going to take? Yeah, I just gotta increase size every time I short again.
Yeah, it's like, why does it do that to me?
That's how to make back your losses. I just think the areas I was shorting weren't the best, to be honest with you. Like, they seemed okay, but then buy side flushes it. Here's NASDAQ. Fucking thank God, 40 points on that.
Nice trade on Nasdaq. You have S&P as well?
Yeah. S&P trades into this like 48, but like, I don't know. I want to look at this as like a potential larger dump again.
Not out of the woods for the sell side yet. Like we need to see those like 40 straight for you to believe in any sell side extension. Right now, it's just that can be a pullback and buyers can try it.
Yeah, they have to dump that like.
That was a big buyer. That was a big buyer and that setup. A lot of buying into that top at 56.
Yeah.
That was a clean entry. So.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of buying coming in on Nasdaq as well, like at 72, 74, and it's kind of like offering below it, forming some delta.
Like, I'm trying to hold for this large move lower, but like, I don't know. I remember yesterday, like, I was trying to do that and things didn't go to plan. But today is a new day.
You gotta believe.
There you go. This makes those losses worth it if you take profit. I'm up about 50 on this NAS, which is nice. That one made the most sense of the shorts.
Cleaner.
Like, if you can't offer this like 42 area, like, you're probably kind of cooked. Wait, I have 7 on now. NASDAQ down to 445, which is nice. How the fuck did that not trade? Watch this.
There's a bit trying to come in here into 45, but right now you're seeing some offers stepping into it. Worth noting if you're on the short.
Yeah, you gotta be careful down here.
Let's go. Push.
Wait, what? How many do I have now? 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. The thing is, like, you gotta start moving through this low 40, like, or high 30, where these guys held the bid last time around. Otherwise, like, we in trouble. Nas needs to break this low. Come on. Nice. Nice. Nas 430. Let's see. Maybe we target 400 on Nas. S&P trades 40 now. Up 15 points on this, but this is the area. This is the area. Massive seller comes in at the bottom on Nas, gets a rebid here. Careful with this shit. Like, look at that monster bid that steps in. Michael, this isn't chop. This is a V-shaped recovery. Like these guys are like just buying. They're buying a lot.
Yeah, the sell side argument is failing every time they fail until 42, so.
They just get trapped down there, man, and then like bid comes in out of nowhere. We need like a freaking biggest prayer circle of all time to dump these guys. Yeah, even with like Nas 440 trades here off that 500, and like instant massive seller comes into the low, they rebid it. Like, look, they're just like huge buyers on this thing on the ES as well. Tropex, Tropex. 500 on the bid, just instantaneous fat buyers stepping in here. It's a pinned market right now. You either break under this 40 and you unleash it, or you just rebid the 56 and this thing just goes to the skies. The way that they like snap back and buy this and they keep getting trapped into those lows isn't super favorable for the short side. Yeah, honestly, the best session to trade is now ETH. Europe for the win! And I guess Africa too, since Fatty couldn't trade that session.
Thank you.
If you weren't in the same time zone, though, sorry. The Euro poors are now Euro riches. This bid is a monster.
recession isn't choppy.
It's very simple. It goes down 100 points, then back up 100 points.
Exactly.
I'm trying to make the case for the sell into this like 52 area, but I'll probably get taken out of a bunch of these on break even. Naz is still holding a lot better. Like, not that it hasn't bounced, but it feels so inadequate trying to fight this like bull. Every time like we offer, the buy comes in and just says peasant and just like rebids this shit. Like even if we drop, I'm not even like that excited to potentially see the 40 break. Might pity take one out here. You got like a big negative delta that's trying to hold these prices up into this like 47 right now. $450 on Nas. Like realistically, these guys are most likely looking for the continued buy. Like I don't know. There's just constant bidding here. This thing sucks. They should have taken more out into that 47 on the bid. These guys are about to blow through this high. Let's see. Nas holding down a lot better realistically. But still, it can't break 440, 450. Fetty, are you still short?
I'm sitting on the outside watching it, big. I don't know. No, like on that move down, I took profit on the two lots, so I'm
Smart
not
man.
fully out before it bounces back up. But I'm looking at it, it's just can go both ways, you know. Right now, like I'm up a little, so
The issue I have right now is like they're holding a bit at a higher level into this 47. We're in a chop zone right now. Like this low 50 to mid 40s fucking sucks. And Q trying to sell, but it can't. Under that 440, 450. They got really trapped at that low. Where was it? I think like 437 on the NQ. Apple's getting fucked right now. That's nice. A lot of tech names are feeling pain. I wish this market would feel some pain.
Alright. S&P isn't feeling it.
No, just feeling the love. What else was I gonna look at? Amazon. Oof. Amazon got beat up a little here. Netflix is rebounding after that extensive gap to the downside. Microsoft is another one. Microsoft is actually pulling lower, interestingly enough, over the last few days here.
There you go, babe. Let's go. The downside move.
I only get happy if we break 40. I'll take another one, honestly, into this area. Why not? Because I'm getting gifted these little bounces to the downside. They're pretty trapped, and they're holding it well. Not that I want to be a buyer down here personally. We need NAS under like 420. But what NAS is doing instead is getting supported by this like huge buy delta. S&P here. The overnight session swings like 100 points both ways. The RTH swings 15. Like the buy side pressure on this DOM right now is just way stronger. I like trying to play the micro range here. I don't know. I'd like the way that this thing's shaping up. if I wasn't in a position right now, I probably wouldn't touch this personally. Like Nas is close to breaking these lows. S&P is like dicking around. If Nas breaks these lows, S&P drops like another 20 points, then this sell side would have honestly surprised me. Like so far all day, the buy side has been stronger on the bids. This Nas is just like lower highs continuously playing off of this like really big positive delta. Still some short Nas from 500. I thought when we saw that first sweep lower, I was like, oh, this thing's gonna get dumped. And then ES V-shape reversal. Come on, NQ, sell under this low, you son of a bitch. S&P fighting big negative delta here, 47. You can see negative 1300 trading there. Nas, I think, made a new low ever so slightly. Well, surprise, surprise, bid. God, this thing's so annoying.
Like sell side works so hard to bring us a few points down and then boom.
Yeah. I just, right now, like, I feel like we either head fake a bit lower or we start like a large sell move, but I think like the next immediate smaller or big move is going to be down.
That's how I feel.
This is another area into this like 43, 44. You might, if you're still on this short, you might want to take some because like these assholes have like infinite negative delta that keeps getting trapped. Nasdaq breaking lows here. This S&P for some reason doesn't want to run lower.
There's a lot of delta accumulated here, 43 almost negative 2000. Probably try to bid it.
Yeah, again for the 6,000th time. Jeez. Just die already. Yeah, like you got a huge again seller into that low gets rebid. Nas is doing well. It's trading 420s right now, so it's like getting pushed to the downside. Come on, Nas.
If we get under, what do you have as a target for the downside move?
49.60 overnight lows. No, I like mid 30 and like 20 realistically. Oh my god. This stupid area again. Nasdaq made new lows, trades like 4, like 15ish. S&P just everyone and their moms are trapped into this low. Nasdaq holds a bid too. Turn a light on here. Drink some water. Maybe if I don't look at it, the market's gonna move. Threes again.
Vic, I moved when you weren't here. Get some more water.
I know,
right? Fire up the tea kettle. It works for me. I don't understand.
Fire up the tea kettle. It only works when you do it, Fatty.
I know. Just going now on the expected remarks from Bank of England's Ramsden, who again was speaking on monetary policy responses to the post-pandemic inflation. And as a reminder, there will be a text release. Gifted.
Fuck this market. I'm trying to close the NAS out, or one more NAS at this like 407, but it's like 5 points away. And I'm going to be a dick for a tick. There we go.
Nothing seen as yet from Ramsden, but that's has now been published on Bank of England website.
It's about 100 points on NAS. This S&P's trying here. 15-point move on the spoos.
It's particularly lengthy steep, so it might take us a little while just to dig into this one. Just though over the last few months, he has become more confident in the evidence. The risks of persistence in domestic inflation pressures are receding, helped by improved inflation dynamics. And his assessment is the balance of domestic risks that outlook the UK inflation is now tilted to the downside compared to the NBC's February 2024 forecast. There's also no now likely to be bumps in the disinflation
They're fucking
process
doing
from one
it.
month to the next.
Just kidding. Rebid. Gotta drink some more water and move the markets.
Some of scan through it does appear to be what we can see at the first glance with regards to the conclusion. We'll have a deeper delve into it. In terms of the crux of it, Bank of England Deputy Governor Ramsden just highlighting the risks are tilted to the downside for inflation, particularly relative to the February NPR forecasts. Do bear in mind you do get an update for the NPR next month in May. And to also note the UK is now less of an outlier and more of a laggard in terms of recent inflation performance. Not really seen too much follow through here to pounds or to gilts.
Not really followed through on the CS either.
She's in a bit of an uptick here in gilts, relatively modest, so potentially slightly more dovish. Remarks here from Ramsden and confidence in the inflation outlook. Just have a little bit of traction here in the market.
I wanted these like lower 30s to trade to see if we can find a bid down there, but like it seems like a bid's being found on every small move lower.
I think we're good there, Vic. Just hold on. We held through so much. Just a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a bit more.
Just a bit more. Nowadays, market is really it's all about patience. So you get that big risk reward. I tried that short too. I just did on micros because it felt too risky to risk the main thing. So yeah,
Oh, I feel that. That's why I tried it 3 times before this thing actually moved.
I tried it a few times too. Vic, come on.
Yeah, screw you.
I
I'm gonna
managed
take
to
another
front
one
me
off.
and go to break even and stuff. So
Took one more off. Like these guys just find bids every frickin' bounce, man. I want to see it a bit lower into this like lower 30, mid 30. Find some buyers right now. They're just like getting frickin' trapped into these lows again. It's a decent move, like 20 points or so.
yeah, it was really move.
Nasdaq's
Just had
up
to
100.
try it a couple of times and
Yeah,
take
that
it one easily. It's just
out of those 3 shots I had before, I think only one was kind of stupid. I'm looking at this.
chased it once, and when you chased it, you got in late. That
Yeah.
was all. It was just the one bad entry.
I'm looking for Nas to trade into like 360-ish. I think I'm just gonna close it there. $35 trades on the spoos here. Nas 377. A reoffer.
Next up in Tennis on the bottom of that hour, looking at remarks and Fed Goolsby, who will be speaking on the
Fed's Goolsby.
Bear in mind that Goolsby is not a voter until 2025. Last heard from Goolsby last week, and he did know that Fed must get inflation back down to target, adding that if PCE is reinflating, the Fed will stabilise prices. In terms of Fed speak this week, quite a lot of
Take
focus
one
on
more.
the
I'm just gonna leave one on this.
Bowman, who, although it's not
I'm honestly pretty close to flipping on the long here.
inflation did not come further, so be on the lookout for any similar remarks from Goolsby.
I'm going flat on this spoos. I'm gonna go flat on Nas as well. I'm out of those. I am looking for a reversal now. Bids, 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 bids. I think we're close to a reversal if it hasn't already happened, which is would be a little annoying right now. But
You wanna like bet like 38 or
to see like 31, 33.
You want another like bounce, break the low, then try to pick it up fair.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I want to see like a heavy buy side stepping in. Nas could trade into that 360. I think I just had enough of these guys. Nas just looks a lot weaker right now. Like what is going on here? I'm just looking at individual names. Big tech is falling. Ah, shit. What was the other thing? Nice push lower here. I'm out of that, by the way. Like, I don't mind being out of it. Rebid and big positive delta. I'll try some. How many is that? 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Entry a little too soon. That's okay. Oh, they keep selling into a low. I don't think a big buyer is in this just yet. I need to rebid all this selling to get better confirmation. NQ at an important area as well, 360. all of a sudden they want to sell, eh? Dickheads.
This round, 1 minute now on those comments from Feds Goolsby.
Oh my god. Feds Goolsby on the wire. Frickin' Goolsby. I think I entered too soon, but I might get away with it.
Basically, Goolsby says progress on US inflation has stalled and it makes sense to wait to get more clarity before moving. Goolsby says that Fed's current restrictive monetary policy is appropriate and proper Fed policy going forward will depend on the data.
Yes, sir. Higher inflation, make the markets go up, baby.
Inflation in the months ahead, and those persistently high housing inflation is the main short-run problem. It sees more space for progress in services inflation from low versus high increases, and says need to determine if strong GDP and jobs numbers are a sign of overheating that is driving up inflation, and notes that not all data suggests the labour market is overheating.
Alright, I'm out of most of that. I think I got a little early on that, but like, whatever.
Get more clarity before moving. Do bear in mind, compared to recent comments from Williams and Bowman, doesn't explicitly mention the possibility of a rate hike here, but of course does acknowledge the progress on US inflation that's stalling.
NASDAQ trades 360, 350 area, monster bid from there as well. My entry was just a bit shoddy on this one.
Just in terms of market reaction, there's some minor upticks in treasuries, but very minor at best. And there's not really too much follow through from these comments.
Okay, one left on this. Whatever happens, happens. I think my entry should have been closer to like 30, 31. I'm watching NQ on the DOM or the footprint. I'm watching NQ on the DOM. Excuse me. My God. If NQ should hold this like 410 area ES, I'm gonna be watching for offers back into that high delta into this like lower 40.
Is there a trade you would be saving? Basically later on, or you think this is just a
Yeah, if they, I think like, or this one right now.
yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's gonna get that far. I think they offer this like low 40. They offered the 42. Like I have only one left. 20 points to the downside, 10 points to the upside. It was worth fumbling 3 trades before.
We'll have to wait and see.
I didn't reverse that. I'm gonna get taken on this last runner, which is fine. There it is. My next trade setup, honestly, is to see if they come into this like 43, 44 on the offer. Oh my god. Brr. Excuse me. Where'd this market go? Fuck. If that was the offer there while I was in that long, I'm not very good at reversing, so
Watches and rail traders, PBR Petrobras to approve record 43.9 billion real dividend payment coming shareholders meeting. That's according to a piece in Globo, which is getting cited by local traders.
excuse me. I think we continue selling.
Want to put up the early exit?
I didn't run this until about like 12 today, but yeah, I'll put up the early exit before I fall asleep. So if you guys want to head out, that's fine, but what I've noticed is that markets generally move right after we close this down, so I want to see if there's going to be some kind of opportunity. It was too early on those first few shorts here. TPO Delta Red. Let's see what that looks like. Oof, yeah, a lot. Look at this thing. This is one of the reasons why I like that long. Like, we had this huge delta block of buy into that 32. I might have jumped the gun on it, but that short was great. Maybe if I held, just letting that one last one go would have been fine. want to look for a strong reoffer of this 30, trade into like mid lower 20, then sell it. This is a new low on the S&P.
Now here from Bet Score Speed, we've done right on the employment mandate, but we have not succeeded on the inflation mandate.
Looking back on these sells, like, let me see here. I got in too early off that open, like at a bad area. It didn't really accept this like low 40. They kept getting trapped and trapped me as well. Move this over.
It's just now, it's like either you sold it into 30-year or you're waiting on the outside. Either we get another pullback into that region, 30 to 40, try to sell into, or make a new low, and then when we get a pullback and try to sell into it. I just missed that short. I was long, and good thing I took profit properly on that, like, long fade.
Yeah, it's hard to reverse it in my opinion, but like I didn't think this fade would have lasted that long. I don't think that was like a bottom. What the hell is this? They keep getting trapped into these lows though. I prefer more of a sell buy. What the fuck are all these? Hold on, I'm trying to show you guys this micro chart.
I'm not thinking about trying the long again, Vic, here.
Are you, or are you asking me if I
wanna
am?
do it? Huh?
Are you asking me if I want to do it?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like if I did want to do it, I would have missed it by now.
Historically quite high.
Like, this is the mez over here. Like you can see, I was shooting this early, honestly, on that short, like way too early. You can see where the sellers were maybe close to that high 40. I sold like 44 twice, right? This was the biggest mistake. Okay, sell it once, whatever, right? Shame on me. Sell it twice at the same area, like, that's a noob move. And then here, I sold it into the 50, got stopped before selling it into the 54, so if you blindly followed me into those first like three and then didn't into the fourth one, then obviously you're gonna be down. And then here with this, like they were holding into that like lower 50 very well actually, like on those tests. I think Fatty, you picked it up later on in that. And then the first long here was a little premature, but it's fine. And this long here, obviously, I didn't pay attention to it enough. But 29, they got trapped on the sell. They rebid that area there.
It's okay now. Let's see the sell. You're into the region. I think 38.40 should hold for the sell. So,
Osprey says we will get to inflation at 2% over a quote reasonable period of time.
Following Nas on the Dom, just like watch the very big delta areas, honestly. Those like big delta areas that shape up on the Nas, and like trying to identify market orders that are like 40, 50 at a time. They give you better indication. Like 384 here on Nas right now, like negative 300 on the delta. We kind of just swing back above it. 391 has like 27 resting passive orders. Go market buy 30 just now. So into these areas, there's a lot of market buyers that are shaping up at this 390. So I'd be looking like, let's say, okay, we're close at 400. If they keep reoffering here on the Nas, I'll look for that press to the downside again, because there's like if I see the big delta on the Dom and like large market orders that are like 50, 60 plus, and like passive orders on the Dom, like if I look at this Nas Dom here, this on the micros, like it's looking at the NQ as well, right? So like you can see NQ, MNQ, or maybe you can't. NQ, MNQ, right? You can see these orders. Like I'll look at the large negative delta. I'll look at the middle columns here and see like if they're selling or if they're not. So like here, obviously huge negative delta. Right now, not too much sell pressure, so it moves very fast, obviously. But the more that, like, especially when they create a new big delta that, like, goes on the Dom, that's when it's fairly important. Like, if a new heavy delta gets created out of nowhere and the market goes, like, market buy or market sell, you get something juicy. Are you on that long, Fatty?
yeah,
Nice. Oh, if we make a new high from here, it'll be.
I don't think so, but maybe like the 50, 46, 47. Set up too good for me not to take multiple rotation. They look like getting stuck. Just lesser size because like
Yeah.
it's a good day. I don't wanna loot it with buy the dip multiple times, you know.
I know. Like, especially with, like, Nas held really well, too, actually, into that, like, 360, 350. I was kind of just not watching that very well. But you got this area, large negative delta. You need to see some big sellers step in if this is actually going to hold. Decent sell. I might have missed it.
Airlines, according to the FAA statement, the FAA
No.
hours off between shifts for air traffic controllers and 12 hours before a midnight shift, effective in 90 days' time. So just a bit of labour market related news there from the regulator FAA.
Is that
or
5?
airline.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Back to the Fed schools fee, the 2025 vote said that you start to see a rise in inflation globally. That suggests it's driven by supply shocks or other things.
Should I sell this Nas too? I don't know. Short a few Nas at this 405. Might get 410. Yeah, it's a good question, Kevin. Do I consider that sell decent even though it was like double digit sell? It wasn't that strong, honestly. But I like that they're kind of getting trapped into the highs and sellers are trying to come out here. Like they're defending their big negative delta area for like a little push. It seems like not a bad not a bad punt.
Ed Scoresby said the puzzle on housing inflation is why official data is so different from market rents data.
Brother, stop talking.
Brother, stop talking. I'm trying to get filled.
Brother, shut up. Didn't they say he's not a voter until 2025? I swear every time
I know.
this idiot steps on the stage, the market moves.
I'm not even a voter yet.
Ed Scoresby asked about possible rate hike if needed, said don't think anything is not on the table. So again, Scoresby has always been a bit taking this line, being guided by data, but again, it's in the context of the speech.
Brother, what the hell are you talking about? You're not even a voter. Shut up.
Ed Scoresby asked about a possible rate hike if needed, says do not think anything is not on the table.
This guy's answering as if he's the whole Fed. You gotta be careful into this 37 IMO.
Scoresby said it's not productive to speculate on conditions for raising or cutting rates. A familiar line from him, he's always said that he'd be guided by incoming data. Not productive to speculate on conditions for raising or cutting interest rates.
Goolsby. What is this guy? Who is this guy? This is what he looks like. I don't trust him anymore. Goolsby. He's gonna nuke my position, isn't he? That bastard. that was the bottom here. It's gonna be annoying. He's like, sellers are trying to come in a little more aggressively here, which is like okay, right at that negative delta area. But they need to create better follow throughs here, which they're getting like tripped up and like jammed. If they can't offer this 37, like, yeah, to get the fuck out. Seller comes in, buyer steps back in. Rotation nation. Nas hovering now too. Looking at this Nas, and Nas would need a stronger offer. Yeah. Like into this, like right now 38, 37, you gotta be very, very cautious and have like finger on the trigger IMO to like maybe get out some of these. Like, I'm gonna buy a few up market there. Oh, well, I needed that one, but whatever. Here's a 36s. Like even Nas into this like 380, I don't know. I might like cut one even though it's like 20, 25 points. Cut one more. Would I say reaction is more important or size? Well, I'd say like they both have to go hand in hand realistically. Like I don't think like one is better than the other.
Is there stuff at break even on Nasdaq?
No.
That's where it was. Like,
Yeah.
you'd rather still have it above like 20?
Yeah, like, yeah. Well, I took one off at that like 380 something
Yeah,
because
yeah, I
like
know you covered some. I know it's probably a profitable position. Nah.
yeah, I'm just like kind of leaving it because like I had like 100 points, more than 100 points on that first move, so like whatever it was, but like so I'm just on this one like I think there could be a little more. I want to give it some wiggle room.
Yeah, me too. I wanna see if this is the top and we can break the low, to be honest, you know? That's, because, like, context to the day so far, like, well, first off, the buyers couldn't hold 40. We broke, it took a while, but we broke below. We get trade below. We jump back up into the mid 40. We offer it multiple times. Sell side has been the right side this whole week, pretty much, at least the last couple of days. Like, buyers get up into morning session, and after that, just keep dumping lower. So, I don't see why today will be different. I'm just gonna leave it as well. Yeah. Sorry, I was just talking myself into it. I knew you.
I was just
I knew
convincing myself to
usually.
hold the trade.
Yeah.
Like if you get like here like 20 25 points on the Nas, I don't see a reason as to why like you don't want to trim a bit. Like look, there's like 370s are trading now. Like yeah, it could go lower, but like I don't mind cutting some off. Like 377 right now. 373. ES 34s. By the time you see the reaction isn't the ideal entry god, not necessarily because you want to always watch the reaction, because like if I see them reacting once, generally speaking, I want to get in with the reaction because the majority of the time it's not like a one touch bounce off the area, right? If it's a one touch bounce, then you kind of have to get like really aggressive on those entries. But like when I see a good reaction, like that reaction, this first one, like reoffers here, my entry wasn't the best, but like when it comes back, I don't mind selling into it.
Always wait for the reaction. You would rather have a later entry after the reaction and you kind of like, let's say like the reaction happened like at 43, for example, you try to enter at like 42, 41, three quarters. It's better than anticipating a reaction or getting caught up and let's keep buying high or selling it. So yeah, always wait. Then see if it's too strong and you think it's not gonna get back into that region, maybe you like move your entries lower a little bit. If it's like just a decent reaction, you want to have your stops protected. Like offer that same area.
Exactly. There's Nas finally breaks at 370 temporarily here. S&P into this 32. There we go. I'll leave one. Nas into 360. This is a good area to trim. Let's see if this one can run. Nas, I might take one more off into these 50s. 350s. Nice 45 pointer. See, if you want to get out of here, you can help us with the poll and then go on with your weekend. I want to watch it a little more here. I think there could be some opportunities before the afternoon. Excuse me. Just made you host. And I'll say a few words after this poll is up. My entries were a bit looser today because I was trading MES and MNQ with a slightly wider stop. And like that's why Fatty I think asked me in the morning session like if I'm increasing my stop, and I was, because it like I think it's a little choppier, more volatile. It made sense.
Come on, we gotta bury this slow. No, you don't have it. It's like it.
What?
What? Nothing. This. No, no, no. I was talking to myself. I'm like, should I flatten or? It's like, are we gonna get out of the range? So, yeah, I'm out on this trade, Vic. I see you're still in it, but that was it for me. I tightened the stop too much.
I only have one. Like if I get out of it,
Yeah,
it's
that's
fine.
fair.
Alright, I'll be taken out of this on the S&P here, and I'm flat on the Nasdaq. I think they might want to bid this like 44 area. I don't know.
Sellers are gonna take over today and sell into the low. Like we see, like let's say 505 or 520. They took a while to do it. Honestly, it's been 2 hours since the open. We really just managed to push from 50 down into like 30, and then we're bouncing up right now. So it's tough to stay patient all the time with the right trade. So it like tells me we probably. I think we honestly trade back higher. Like they should have took it below on that shot from that offer around 50, 45 recently, but that reversal right now, I think probably trade higher.
Yeah. I think that, oh well. Very split even on the up and down. I know the early exit was like similar. I'll be around today for another like 45 minutes probably to see how this thing shapes up before the afternoon session. There's usually some kind of decent move. Bucksy wants to get out of here for the weekend, just make me host, and that'd be good. But
Thank you for the numbers, Bugs. You want to wrap up?
Sure. So, all markets just been kind of grindy up for most of the day. We came off the open, we ranged for a little bit, then we just started grinding up. Really a grind. So, traders returns are up. So, long and strong, it's coming into the VWAP, coming into the 8270 area right now. So, whatever you do, monitor your risk, trade like TRADEPRO, and preserve that capital. Gentlemen, thank you for another great week. We're heading out to the mountains this afternoon, and I'll be out all next week. So I will see everybody a week from Monday. Everybody have great trading, and we'll see y'all then. Ciao.
thanks,
Take care,
Steven.
Bugs. Have fun.
Enjoy the weekend.
I'll put the numbers in a bit, Vic, since
Yeah.
we're staying.
Yeah, I wanted to know, like, they're about, it's like 50-50 kind of. Like, let me know what some of the issues were today. I think that realistically, those like first few shorts they were premature. They weren't great realistically, and I understand that. Like, I think that profitable, good trading isn't something pretty realistically. Like, these are things that you're gonna have to try a few times here, and that was the case, right? I think, okay, one of these should not have been a short, so if I get rid of one of these because it was at the exact same area, it was kind of mindless. If I look at like the context and distribution based on these shorts, looking at this thing, right? Like the only contextual reason to actually short this 44 would be for a more exaggerated move lower, which is this move right here, right? Like when we exaggerate below this 30 and you actually reoffer it, that's when you short the 44 area, right? These shorts in the 44 were much better than these ones because we're just rotating. Oops, the hell. We're just rotating off the open. What's going on? Why can't this thing? What the hell? Is Zoom bugging out now? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. Can you see the screen? Like, is it moving? Is price moving? Weird, because it's giving me this like orange. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. Even better. Oh, there we go. Things should be good now. Zoom's really bugging out for me. I don't know if Fetty's here or not. Yeah, this might be a warning to close for the day. I think Zoom's back. So, generally speaking, like into that, when we opened around that like 44, remember 44 was a pretty interesting area into the close and into yesterday. It's also the freaking point of control from the overnight session. So like when we open and we start chopping around it, I think that was my mistake. I need to wait for like an exaggerated move to and through those levels, which allows for the expansion and confirmation into the directionality of the trend based on like these auctions, right? So like I got in too early into these areas, into the short, right? I think twice here. Trying it twice, right? That was like no. If I tried it one of these times, okay, fine, whatever. But I shouldn't have tried it twice at the same area until there was a larger expansion, which happened a little later on. Into these highs, honestly, that 50, I didn't mind it, and then I had to try it again when that larger offer came through into that area. So being profitable isn't necessarily always pretty, right? Trying to catch lows and highs isn't that easy. You can see here, right, this was the real offer of that mid 40 to actually get a good trade on this, and it worked out pretty decent. But it, like, if you're down just by blindly following based on those few first trades, then you tap out, well, I think looking back and thinking about the context, right, I was wrong on those first few, but I was also just rushing it a little bit. So thinking back and like looking at this context, reviewing this, which I'm doing right now, is super, super important. Because when we open over here and they're just like chopping around here, that was a very big mistake. I saw some offers coming into that like 48 area. That's kind of why I rushed it a little, and I was like, okay, this might actually just start spilling like yesterday off the open. I didn't want to miss that. And once I got stopped the first time, I honestly really, really should have waited and seen how they trade into that 50, how they trade back up here into this area. Remember, 56 from yesterday is important based on order flow. And then finally, we re-offer through the area. We hold it based on all of this negative delta over here. This is what I was watching to see if those offers could come in to continue that lay lower. And right now, I think there could be a little more of an expansion to the downside. It's the same thing with the NASDAQ, realistically. Those that join me on YouTube, thank you. If you're out, have a good weekend. But I'll be around for just a bit more to see how this thing pans out. I still like the idea of shorts kind of stepping into this market for a little leg lower, realistically. But we really, really need to start offering through this like low 30 to take into that 20. Because when I see the 20 over here, one of the reasons why I liked us on the bid of the 20 on the pre-market was like we get into this like divot here of these distributions, and there's like heavy volume to hold this thing out. Single print trades here as well. So right now, if we offer through that, right, I think that you're gonna probably look at that 505 area to the downside. And I like the idea for the offer. I think that on the overnight session, we had our chance for these buyers to, or sorry, the morning session, we had the chance for the buyers to step in, and now the sellers are in control. But they're gonna need to really, really push this thing lower if there's gonna be any kind of opportunity for that sell side momentum. So if you had a tougher day, if you're down on day, let's discuss it. Let me know why. We can take a look at that, right? And I still like more of that downside. Nas is pulling lower here. Maybe I shouldn't have blown that out. 337 trading.
You have zero risk on, sorry, zero shorts, McBull.
Yeah, like I've completely blown them out. Maybe I should have held the Nas a little longer, honestly.
It was weaker, yeah. It's weaker right now. Didn't rebound like the S&P did. It is a risk coulda woulda shoulda.
Yeah, I know. Are you still holding a Nas?
No, I'm not holding anything either.
Oh,
Just
okay.
watching from the outside. And
Interesting. Someone said they traded the Dow today. I think the last time I traded Dow was like 6 years ago
yeah, traded
on
it
futures.
twice.
I lean short. I think the offer is pretty heavy. We're below a decent amount of negative delta. Um, you can see here on the delta profile, yeah, okay, they look like they're getting pretty freaking trapped, right? Where these like buyers on the overnight stepped in. So I know, like, based on this, you could honestly look to lean a bit long to see these pops. They're getting kind of trapped here, but as long as we remain like in this area, I think that they try to push this thing down, right? I wouldn't sell like 32, for example. If I was still short, maybe one more, two more, break even from 43, I'd be trying to expand this a little lower. I think that they like at least head fake it before they rally back up, but there's just too much negative delta down here. Um, like it looks slightly more bullish. I'm not gonna lie. But I'd rather like at least see a head fake and then like bid back up. Nasdaq like kind of fooked right now.
Yeah, Nasdaq's weaker. That's Do you guys, I'm curious to hear this. Do you guys find it harder to find the entries or to find like overall direction, catch big moves?
It's a good
What is,
question.
yeah. Because like, see, like the thing is, you need like a 40%, like 50% win rate if you're using like a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. So like, even if you let's say you have like a four lot average and you get in, you get stopped once, twice, third time, it runs 10, 15 point on your direction. You're overall like um, positive in that case. But for that case to happen, number one, if it's one on two lots and you're using a bracket, two stops will probably, after you take the win, it's probably gonna get you back to break even. So you need to have like a little bit of more size. That's why we recommend the micros. So let's say like when you start getting into four, like just focus in the areas that you have marked that Vic gives you at the beginning of the day on seeing a reaction and not being too impulsive when it comes to the entry, right? Wait for them to close a 10 tick, for example, see the offer, like wait for them to accumulate like a big buy that shows up. Like today, I didn't try that first short. The only one that kind of made sense for me, I tried it twice in that region, the high region, but the only one was like around 56. That was like okay, that's clean to me because I have this whole region as an area to sell into, and I got a big buyer at the top and a rejection candle right below some offers. So that to me is my entry. I have a region, I have a big step buyer, and I have the entry. So you can limit your criteria when it comes to that, or you can just widen the stop and focus on getting a better fill. Or, but like if your issue is with direction, then you need to step back and like really think about the trading plan coming into the day and how to adjust because the thing is like sometimes you get stubborn in direction and you blow accounts. So you need to understand where the problem is coming from. It's either like you can't find the entries. Sometimes honestly, as Vic was saying earlier, like trading isn't clean. So like you might see the entry, you get in, boom, stop. You see it again, try it again, boom, stop. So and you try it like two, three times before you get the move that you were anticipating in your direction. We can't control the bidding and the offering in an area and limit it within a 3.5 point range of a stop. We can only just pick the best entries we can and we go from there. But if your struggle is in direction and staying longer and winning trades, because that's really what it takes. It's not just finding the right setups. It's staying like till they manifest into like a 20, 30 point move. Then
think that like well like based on the replies, I don't know if you saw them, Fatty, but it's like 50-50, I think. Like where some people are looking at they're not necessarily finding direction, some people are not necessarily finding entries. I think like
I'll tell you guys.
yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, Vic, but yeah, like so so with Vic's approach, okay, I trade with Vic. It's been like almost a year now. Like with Vic's approach, it's oriented towards direction. Okay, Vic focuses on capturing the big moves. All right, and he stays in, and he just like he kind of leaves it. If you're gonna trade like Victorio does, which he hosts, and he honestly does a great job. Like I don't know anybody that can do it like Vic, but just know that that approach is based on direction, and he's very patient when he gets onto the right move. So if you're gonna like, I wouldn't say copy, but kind of mimic his approach, just understand that like a lot of it is built on winners. One runner that he left from like the overnight session that ran 100 points. This is his edge, right? If it's either you get that same style, you get the same edge, or you're focusing on more on the entries, and that's honestly like more of me. I get that there can be a good point, like good 100-point move out of this region, for example. But the only thing I care about is like the justification for my entry. So for that case, I have two setup criteria: either a big buyer stuck into an area, into a top of an area that I like, again a lot like the setup at 56, or a huge delta region where if I'm trying to short, for example, and I have that huge delta, let's say 1,000, minus 800, I try to get my fill above that region. So like a late fill to me in that region, if I'm trying to short, for example, will be the lower end of that delta. I want to avoid that. I try to get him at the top. So I think I'm more of like a short term to a scalper, but like again, I've been doing this for 6 years, so I know what it looks like to me. So like figure out where the problem is, all right, and try to adjust from there. That's why like it's hard to get like you reflect and find out, okay, am I right on direction or not? Okay, maybe my entries are impulsive. How can I work on that? And from there you ask questions. Sorry for the rant, Vic. Go for it.
Yeah, of course. Like I wanted to say like obviously like this isn't like a signal service, so like how I trade, how Fatty trades, like it could be similar styles, but like trying to copy 100% is probably not going to be something that is for you, because there's always going to be something different about you. Like every time I take a trade, if it's going to be like a profitable trade, there's going to be 6-7 points that are available, right? It depends on how you manage it to take it out realistically. So with this approach, right, like Fatty was saying, direction is like the number one thing. The easiest way to understand direction is again auction theory and what we've been talking about. Like just as a starting point, right? Like why was I looking for the short today? Because we're still in this lower band distribution, right? If I was looking for the long, honestly, it would have to be from levels lower, because yeah, okay, we enter head fake below this area, right? We enter back into this larger distribution, technically bullish. But like if you're not bullish from here leading up into the top band of this distribution, then like I'm not gonna buy 56, right? I'm not gonna buy 60. That's why I was looking for the shorts earlier on to actually pull us down to this 30, to pull us down to this 20, and then you can start looking for the flip on that. So like just understanding this is the beginning of understanding direction. Understanding how these like volume areas trade is the beginning of understanding direction and directionality. And then the entries, like I think personally for me the entries are a bit difficult because I get shit entries a lot, like you guys have seen. But again, where there's big sellers, big clusters of delta, I want to sell into them. Where there's like reoffers, I want to sell into them. So it's two seemingly fairly basic things, but well, you got to put them into practice, right? Practice them, see them out to get those moves realistically, and to get a better understanding. But like going back to like the trades and whatnot, I think at the beginning, this is why I really emphasize taking your 6-7 points, your 8 points at the beginning, and just like locking it in bracketing, like leaving your bracket, locking in those profits, hitting the base hits at the beginning, and then learning from that. Because if you can reverse engineer your trades, my trades, like the successful ones, the bad ones, then you have a better understanding of how to manage your positioning. Because like I think people take more of an emotional hit when they lose or when they have an open profit and they don't take anything at the beginning of their trading, and then that kind of seeps into the other trades and seeps into your overall trading, and then it turns to shit very quickly. But like for me, I don't mind trying to open this thing up. Like that's how you're gonna catch. Like if everyone wants the big move, but no one wants to take a risk for it. Everyone wants to get in, and the thing goes 20, 30 points in your direction, but no one wants to see it pull back 10 points, right? And then like and then if people take losses on the day, they're like, "Oh fuck, I had like 7 points open profit, I didn't take it." Like that's on you at that point. No one's clicking the buttons for you. No one's doing any of that for you. Like it's on you at that point. Like entries, everything, ideas are here. You can see them real time. But like if you're not comfortable with the trade, if you're learning, take the base hit. Learn from the base hit. It's not like you're gonna get in today, like first week, first month, and you're gonna start catching these 20-point moves. These 20-point movers, they're like 40% like of the time realistically. Otherwise, you're better off just taking the base hits. If you take the base hits, number one, you're gonna build confidence. Number two, you're gonna win more. Number three, you're gonna understand what the fuck you're doing, right? Much, much easier and much, much faster rather than trying to expand it, right? This thing drops 15 points in my direction. I took only a few off, and then it came back, and I'm like, fuck, am I gonna have to re-enter this again? And then probably people who took this position, they see that and they're probably like shitting their pants. They're like, fuck, like I should have taken it or blah 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 blah. And then like bad decisions start rolling in from that, right? That's how these things start. But like if I like for me personally, I'm like what like fuck it, like I'll just put the stop at break even because this is the technically towards the top of the distribution. There should be a larger move to the downside, right? And then it drops 20 points. So base hits, like I can't emphasize that enough. Um,
Yeah, the big moves are like, it's like, the saying, you need to risk big to win big, and when it comes to capturing big moves like Vic does, it's a lot about like how much are you willing to give back. So what I noticed from watching him is like he goes to break even after it's like let's say 7, 8 points in his direction, and he kind of waits there. He doesn't trail too tight. He's not too tight on the stop. If you're gonna be just like tightening the stop with the hope that it doesn't get taken out and it continues in your direction, that's a sign like just get out.
just get yeah, just flatten it.
Yeah, just flatten it. So yeah, like you can like without big risk, there is no big reward. You're not gonna catch a 40 pointer with like going trailing stop 2 points, 2 points. That just doesn't work in today's market anymore. Trailing in itself, it can be done, but it's gonna be done on a larger scale
Bro, if you're
like another.
like if you're trying to catch a big move, you have to understand that you're risking a lot more than if you're just like trading a bracket. Because like in order for you to catch a massive move, a monster move, like you're going to have either the stop at break even while the thing's 20 points in your direction, or or you just take it out realistically. Like here, let me show you an example of this from last night actually. Where the hell is it? Like look at this NAS on the NQ from last night. Like obviously on the way down taking some profits, and then the last one that I'm trying to trail, right, like the entry was at about 500, so I took maybe like 10 points of heat, whatever it was. But anyways, like this thing drops. It what happened? It drops from 310, we can say, down to 230, right? That's 80 points. And then it runs back to like 320, so it runs like 90 points in my face, right? And then obviously eventually I was just like, okay, whatever, fuck it. But like these are the types of moves to get another 100 points to the downside. You know what I mean? Like the if you want the big wins, you have to just be okay with the large swings. Otherwise, like there's no bad thing about just taking the base hits. Like greed becomes one of those things, especially at the beginning, that people get themselves stuck in, and they're like, oh, like I need to have more. I need to like I could have had 20 points more. I could have had X Y Z. Well, like you might not be ready for that, which is totally fine. You're better off. Honestly, you're better off building up, taking 6 7 points on the ES like at a time, and taking a 3 point stop, than trying to like get these monster moves, getting out at break even after it's like 30 points in your direction. Then you're just fucked.
To brief this, the strategies that are based on direction, okay, a lot like Vic's style of trading, there's minimal, some requirements. Alright, number one, in my opinion, you need 4 lots. Alright, you need to be able to taper and have that one lot running, and from there, the second thing is like, you gotta not trail it too tight, kind of like, as Vic was saying, like, you gotta be able to take some heat, to be patient and wait for the trade, maybe a couple of hours, maybe I don't know how long he waits, but sometimes he holds straight into the next day. So you need 4 lots. You need to be uh, not trail too tight. Just accept that there's gonna be big risk with the big swings, and you also gotta like review the distribution stuff to know like the edges in which like huge reversals occur, because that's when like the direction approach pays the most. VIX 96 short yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, that was a distribution short. He took like
Mm-hmm.
2 stops prior to that, but then that one that he got that broke that low, that paid for everything by like 2 and like made a lot of profit. So like review the overall strategies for the entry, have 4 lots going, don't be too loose on the approach. If you are more of look at like your problems with entries, all right. So Ron, like for example, I just scalp. How does scalping look like to you?
I hate scalping personally. It's just not for
Yeah,
me.
like
Like
is scalping to you like something that is like a one-to-one approach? Um, are your all trades the same size? Like, because like scalping means different things to different people. You know what I mean? Like, so I just want to know, like, okay, you scalp. What does that approach look like to you? I'm not picking on anyone. I just want to know.
it's just like scalping is like for me personally. I try to just not for me. Like George does it more. I just find it way too difficult because like it requires for me like a lot of attention to like the order flow, and I'm not saying like that I don't pay a lot of attention, but like I gotta get in and out, in and out, in and out. Like it just, oof, I don't know. I'd rather just like get in and then just fuck off. If it hits a stop, it hits a stop.
So it's more like 2-to-1 and take out most of the pushes. So 2-to-1 risk reward, okay, that's fine. Almost in the position, and then try to leave one. What makes this a scalp? Because like 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, you're using a 3 point stop. You try to leave one runner and see if you can get lucky.
Scalping, like
What's
the OG definition for scalping, like you said, like many like people might have different definitions for scalping, but like the OG definition for scalping on the ES, you're taking ticks, and you're risking
yeah,
ticks.
that's yeah,
Like
exactly. That's
if you start talking about points, you're not scalping.
yeah, you're not scalping. Okay, so this isn't scalping, Ron. That's the main thing. And what's his name? Dragger. That's a scalper.
Yeah, like he'll be
And
like 10
it was a
ticks,
lot.
like that's like
Yeah,
a few points. So like
yeah.
but right on the other side of things, some people consider 10 points a scalp. When I'm like, okay, like I don't, but like whatever. Like a scalp, honestly, the way that I see it is like, dude,
It's a one to
it's
one.
like ticks 1 to 1, very fast in and out, and it's just like micro shit, Like if you're like, let's say for example, you take like six. Let's say you take 6 points in like 2 seconds. Like that's not a scalp, in my opinion. It's just a regular trade, right? Like, but like if you're just in and out quickly, I think it more just depends on the move realistically to consider it a scalp or not. Not that it really matters realistically, but like if you're taking like ticks at a time, like you're most likely on the scalper end. If you're just in and out very quickly, like maybe it's defined as a scalp. Like fuck me, I don't know, but like
No, no, that's great. No, honestly, that's a great point. Okay, some people, especially newer, right? When you're newer, you can't stand it going into against you like 1 point or so. So their decision making is always like flatten or get out or whatever. So if you get into the region and suddenly start have like 3 or 4 trades, all right, entry, then exit, and you think you're scalping, you're not scalping, you're just confused in an area of
it's just
resistance
because
on how the entry looks like. I'm just being honest. I want to pick on anybody because this is like you need to understand. All right. So like that means you're not sure how your entry, what your entry should look like, or what the criteria you're waiting for really is, or you're not confident in the position in the first place. So if you think just getting in and out in a zone is scalping, it's not scalping. All right. It's just confusion. All right. So if you find that problem with the entries, all right, forget about overall direction. I enter at the wrong time or whatever. Some base things also you need to know. Number one, as we were saying, they're not perfect. All right. Number two, tie the criteria of entry to something that you have experienced or that is very noticeable. Like for example, big deltas, big buyer or seller showing up on the the chart that Vic has, for example, has like bubbles that shows tie that. Be like, okay, it might be a fast rotation, but it's not gonna drag me in. I want to see it this, and try to just like pretty much find this criteria in the zones that Vic talks about. And the zone's kind of like, it's not like touch and go. It's like push and shove. Like you'll see the zone 3 or 4 times, and at some point you'll get that criteria you're looking for. And more importantly, like you need to be able to actually, be patient when after you get in because it's gonna go against you and for you for a little bit before the move plays out. You need to be patient to see it play out and not just hesitate and flatten because that as Vic was preaching at the beginning, where like he doesn't scratch, that means like okay, I might have had a shit entry, but I'm not hesitating. Okay, if I get stopped up there and it's back to a higher price, for example, and you're on the short, I'll try it again with a better fill. Don't the indecision, consistent indecision, and you call it scalping isn't good. Sorry, back to you.
no problem.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? What are you like?
I honestly have like pretty.
Uh,
I honestly have pretty bad entries to be like to like for a lot of the time, which is what causes me to like re-enter. Like that's like I don't mind getting stopped out, but like the thing is, I think it's you have to have like for me personally, I don't like scratching either because I think you have to have more of a robotic sense of just like right or wrong every single fucking time to be able to scratch properly because I noticed that the majority of time people that scratch they're usually wrong about their decision. Their decision making isn't that high level. So like you scratch, you're kind of just avoiding the risk all in all. That's why we have stops, right? Scratching is for people that don't use stops, which is another whole thing, but like that's why I have a stop. If I get stopped out, like it is what it is, and then I'll just try it again. Like my entries today, the first two, three were dog shit, and I'm okay to admit that. They usually are, and then I'll have to try it again, and I have no issue doing that because it's like conviction of the play. The thing is, when a lot of people get stopped out, immediately their mind goes to like insane indecision, where they're like, "Holy fuck, what did I do? What just happened?" Like did I am I on the wrong side of things, did I enter poorly, like they can't even comprehend as to what is going on. But like the second you enter, if you have like a plan and a system that like makes the most sense, like for me for example, I'll enter based on like the order flow and the levels. Let's say I have a level, so let's ignore the 44s today because the 44s that was bad. That was bad decision making. But if I have a level somewhere at 52, right, and I see someone get offered at 52 and there's like heavy delta, and I get in, I get stopped out. And then what Fatty was saying, Fatty's like, honestly, what Fatty said got me into that short at that 55. He's like, oh fuck, they got stuck, and I'm like, really? So I looked at my screen because I was looking at Nasdaq. They got trapped into that like 56 or whatever, right? Big buyer, 1,000 on the buy side, immediate reoffer. For me, like if my stop is behind that 57, like I can get in anywhere as long as my stop is like 2 points above that. So I'll enter into that area realistically again, right? And I know that I should be bearish below this area because it's the top of a distribution. I just obviously don't necessarily know exactly where just yet, but it's not like okay, I get stopped out at 55, then I start buying 56, right? Just take a step back, look at what this thing's doing. And I think that a lot of people they go back to back trades because they get confused when they get stopped out. Emotionality just creeps in, they get triggered right away. Maybe you have to technically revise your entry zones, Vic. Christopher, like, what do you mean by that? But yeah, like I think that I have to revise them in terms of I need like more confirmation and make sure that I'm trading like the area that I want to trade because like I front run my shit all the time.
If you think you're gonna get into the markets and get the first fill as the 20-point runner that you're looking for,
You're
you're
mistaken.
delusional. I don't know. Yeah, this is a emotional draining job, and just like let's be clear about this. You're gonna try it two three times. I don't care how good your criteria is. You just need like overall awareness about for yourself because the problem with that is like what exactly what Vic was saying is like people get emotionally triggered after the first loss. So from there he goes in autopilot monkey mode. You know, he just keeps shorting without waiting for that criteria because again he's not used to um, waiting for what he needs to see, or he doesn't know what he needs to see exactly to requalify the entry. So so like, but even like, damn, I've been doing this for 6 years, and today I took two stops before I got the runner. You know what I mean? Like,
I took three, bro.
yeah, I don't know anybody that does it perfectly, but the main thing is, as long as you're right on overall direction, your risk reward is in place. Even if you take a couple of steps, you're still gonna come out positive. You know,
That's the thing. Like people are sadly
you just need to
mistaken.
focus. Yeah, you just need to focus on not being impulsive after you take a stop. Not like rethink your whole approach. No, okay, took a stop. Is there an offer? Is the seller still in this, or the buyer still in this, or not? You know, can I requalify, re-justify this or not in the zone that I'm building my direction plan upon? And from there also, just side by side as not being impulsive, you need to have an area where like, okay, if I'm doing this above this region, I'm stupid. Because like sometimes the market will drag you, you stop, suddenly it's like it's from 56 to 77 and you're shorting all the way up. So you have like the plug where you pull off, you'll be like, no, I can't redo this trade again, even if it works. That's it.
Yeah, there has to be reasoning to the trades, right? You have to be able to explain your trade as to why you're doing it, not like, oh, I think it's going down. Like you're sadly mistaken. Everyone has to get a reality check about trading that you're gonna find perfect entries all the time, and you're gonna get these large swingers, or you're never gonna take stops. Like you gotta understand that if you're in this, you're expected to take stops on a day to day basis, right? Realistically, and you're expected to honestly fight through it, right? Like that's the reality of it. If you're in this to like consistently never lose and be right on the first entry, like I don't know, become like an accountant or some shit, because it's just not the reality of it. Like
Yeah, like Christopher, maybe. One second, sorry. I read Christopher's comment. One sec. Maybe have a more conservative approach on entry. So that Christopher is two things. Number one, like sometimes the criteria doesn't set up, but the trade play out the way you've seen it. For example, you're waiting for a big buyer and a big delta of accumulation, an offer comes and takes it. So if you wait for a more conservative approach, you might lose less. You're probably gonna lose less, but you're also gonna miss a lot more. You know, a lot of the trades is just a fight between the bid and the offer, and if you're right on overall direction, sometimes you don't see the criteria. So I tried to be more conservative on the entry approach. I missed a lot of trades that were directional, but I did lose lesser. And an approach that is based on direction, sometimes it's just better to take the shot, honestly. If it's showing a decent bid, decent offer, you can filter and be like, oh, I'm not gonna information, so I don't think you can filter more than that. That's the way I see it. What did you have at 52 as a level today, Vic? I think this whole region 50 is we had like as a resistance pre-market, and then like after it broke above, like, and you had a big buyer that got reoffered that trade kind of makes sense. Sorry, Vic, that's your question. Go. I'm
Yeah.
afraid
Why did you have 52 as a level? Isn't it exactly a ledge? Is it a little high vol point from the prior day? This 52 area, it's like a minor ledge of distribution. You can see how it sticks out here on the 5 day. Overnight, right, they drop off in volume. On the day before, they drop off in volume, heavy volume down at that area. If we take a look at Delta as well, if I'm not mistaken, around this area you have a clustering of like heavy delta as well, so like all these things combined around that 50 to 52 become an area for me. Like even yesterday, well, maybe it could have been a little higher to be honest, but like yesterday, it should have been maybe a little higher, like closer to like 54 maybe, like 56, 54, right? Because that was the area. Remember 56, 54, they caused a lot of trouble in the morning session. They got stuck. When we reoffered them, they continuously got stuck again.
any other issues that we can address?
I have the 60 area too, like low 60 realistically. Like 60 to like 65. I didn't really find. I think like the way I see this market today is I want to see if they trade the 20 or that 05 area to buy that dip. I think into that area somewhere is going to be the dip buying opportunity. I think there's still more sell side. They just got trapped at the high again. Well, not at the high, but at this 35. Trying to buy this dip right now, I think is a little premature.
Yeah, you just have a big stock buyer at a top tick here at 34 and it's sticking against it. So it's not super supportive to the buy case argument.
Why don't we open the room for power hour? Because it's gonna be like 10 p.m. here, and it's Friday.
Like towards the close, you mean?
Yeah.
So you want a room in the morning and a room before
All day, all day.
Monday.
I gotta call the CRA for my taxes. I don't know if I'm a deemed resident or not. Then I'm gonna wait on the phone for 65 hours. Taxes due like not next week, the week after. Fuck.
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you let a family member does it for you? Like, I do that.
Do what?
It's doable. What are you gonna do? Are you serious about the CRA thing? Because they really expire next week. Were you serious on that?
Well, I have to call them because I have to ask them if I'm a deemed resident or not. Because like, if I don't, like, I don't know, I don't want to fuck my taxes up and then they're gonna audit me and then I'm gonna have to like, I don't know, come back from Bulgaria or whatever.
But what do you mean deemed resident? Oh, you've been outside.
Bro, I've been outside of Canada for like 2 years.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, yeah.
Be cool. That CRA call is gonna be heavy.
Fucking sucks, bro. Like that's why I've been like working on moving all my shit to Europe, but
I think it was a good choice, Vic. But you know, it's not easy out of the soup.
I know.
Hey man, you motivated me to move, Vic, and I moved. I'm happy I did it. I just need to trade the freaking session that I'm here to trade. You know, the night session.
Yeah.
Should we call it, Vic? If you guys have
Yeah.
anything else, let us know.
Let me know if you have any final questions.
what am
Yeah.
I doing here? I missed the short. I'm not gonna try to pick it up on the long. It's not for me to call it. So I pull like technical stops in the day for whether I'm red and green. If I miss two big moves, I'm not gonna risk it and see if I can get the third. But yeah, this for me biggest struggle is like accepting a red day. I always think that I can trade my way out of it, which I have. But I stayed in front of the screen for 48 hours and I
Oh,
looked like a zombie by the time it was done. So
it's not even worth it, bro. Just take the loss.
yeah. So
Holy shit! I wish I had more of these shorts, man.
that's really good.
Anyways, good session. Thanks for keeping on side here with me, Fatty. And we will have a great weekend. So enjoy the weekend, everyone. We're gonna jump off now. Thanks, Fatty, for joining me today and going through a lot of different things. Thanks for everyone that jumped on YouTube. Thanks to the TPA guys that stuck around and asked some good questions. And we'll see. Maybe there's something into the afternoon, but right now I think there's more downside. I'll watch this, but not super closely. I just wish I was holding some more shorts on this because that would have been juicy. So I think there's more downside before the buyers step in. Realistically, the main area that I could see as a potential low is closer to that 49.90 area. I'll watch like 20 and 05, but I don't know. I think that they want to sell a little more before we get that rebound. I don't necessarily think the sell is done. We gapped too much on the upside today, so these guys they're a little more vicious as I continuously fill shit to the downside here. Ooh, I'm getting a little too long, uncomfortably.
Awesome, Rick. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll do it again on Monday. Take care, everyone.
Thanks,
Enjoy
guys.
your week.